morning, Tribe Church. It's December 29th. We're not at church because it's Sabbath Sunday. So hopefully you're watching this somewhere from the comfort of your own home in pajamas.
Cozy pants.
Yes, enjoying.
Maybe a nice cozy dog on your lap to cuddle with.
Yes, enjoying the holiday season. And we're going to keep this pretty brief for you, but we do want to prepare you because we have an exciting time coming up. We have our 21 days of prayer and fasting. We're going to talk about fasting. We're also going to talk about the word of the year because you're about to have an opportunity to start your year off right and not start it how we've always started it, right? You've always started it with the best intentions that your year is going to start off well, and then it kind of fizzles out. And so we want to try through this sermon series. We're going to try to give you tools so that you don't fizzle out during the year. And the best way to do that is to prepare on the front end. So that's what we're going to try to help you do.
Absolutely. I want to start off talking about Word of the Year, though, because that's one of my favorite things that you and I started doing back in 2011. Mm-hmm. Can you believe it's been that many years? So in 2011, our Word of the Year was conserve. And we actually, there's this whole big long story that I won't go into, but there's this whole long story where we had no water over a holiday weekend, like Labor Day or something like that. And it was going to be much cheaper for us to call a plumber on Tuesday than it was on like Saturday morning. And so we just had to conserve our water. So we put up these little sticky notes all over the house that said conserve. And that was in 2011. And that kind of became our mantra for 2012. And what we found was that by the end of 2012, we've gotten pretty good at conserving. And we were ready to do a new Word of the Year. And so we've done that every year since then. In fact, I have them written down right here. Our Word of the Year in 2013 was diligent. 2014 was amp. 2015 was intentional. That was a tough year.
It was, yeah.
2016 was hustle. That was another tough year.
Good year.
2017 was courage, which is the year that we had it placed on our hearts to start Tribe Church.
Right.
And then in 2018, you picked the word reliable.
I did.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a real great word of the year.
We joked how it even sounds bad coming out of your mouth.
Reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2019, our word of the year has been nurture. What has that sort of meant to you over the last year?
Well, I talked a little bit, I don't remember, it might have been in our volunteer rally, which, by the way...
If you're not coming to the rallies, yeah, it was both of us.
If you serve in any capacity and you're not coming to our 9 a.m. rally, you're missing out on a lot.
Even if you don't serve, come to the rally because, number one, you're going to want to serve after being a part of the rally. But number two, it's the best time. You get to know all kinds of information, it's a much more relaxed and casual atmosphere. It's really great. I really love the rallies.
I would say for me, nurture has really been, at first, I thought it was going to be about nurturing other people and pouring into other people and doing that with other people. And while it has been that, it's also been very much, there was a lot of nurturing that we needed to do with ourselves and our, our health and our family and just something that we didn't expect. And so sometimes when you have the word of the year and that's kind of how you see the lens of which you view your whole year, it doesn't always go the way that you thought it would. I mean, we could give you an example upon example, and I definitely could say with courage, that when we decided on courage, it wasn't so that we would have the courage to plant a church.
No,
that was not part of our language.
The thing on courage was we wanted to, whenever we were presented with a choice, we wanted to make the brave choice. We wanted to take the brave option with courage. Right,
and it was not what we expected it to be, and that was true for nurture as well. And our next year is going to be resolve. And resolve can mean multiple things, right? And it could mean I'm going to resolve that I'm going to do this thing well, or I'm going to resolve that
I'm going to do this every day.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And so we want to increase like our good habits. Last year we did a series on that called Uphill Habits, and this year that's definitely more of our focus. And that's the series is similar. It's not Uphill Habits, but it's similar in nature in that it's called It's Time, and it's about realizing it's time to do many things in our life that we put off, and the best way to do that is, we want to give God first place in our lives, and we want to do, when we talk about giving, they talk about like their first fruits, right? And so we want to give God the first of our year, and that's why the purpose of having the word of the year and fasting as well.
I want to talk about the word of the year one more time really quick. One of the books that I read at the very beginning of this year was called Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Caroline Leaf. What I love about Dr. Caroline Leaf is that she is a neuroscientist and she's a Christian, and she keeps finding things in neuroscience and in the brain that she feels like lead us right back to God. And one of the verses that she talks about a lot is when she talks about like the renewing of your mind, that we need to be refreshed and rejuvenated by the renewing of our minds, and that we can constantly, even as adults, they're finding that we can change our habits, we can change what we're doing.
And the Bible talks about renewing.
Right, it absolutely does, which is just, I think is just the coolest thing. But in her book, the tagline of it says something about changing your life in 21 days, or like, creating a habit. We've all heard that, like 21 days. It takes 21 days to become a habit. And I'm sure that we've all done things for 21 days, and then on day 22, you never do it again. And it's because what Dr. Caroline Leaf has found is that it doesn't take 21 days. It takes 21 days 3 times. So those 21 days 3 times, which I think is 63 days. It's Christmas break, so I shouldn't have to do math. And then, sorry, our phone just went off. And then, so 21 days 3 times, and then you do that, I think it's 6 or 7 times. And what
just to clarify, it was her phone that went off.
It was a text to both of us.
I know, but mine's on silent.
Everybody texts me.
Mine's on silent.
Right, but no, everybody texts me because he won't text them back.
That's not true. I'm way better.
You are.
I've resolved that I will be better. And I nurtured that last year.
You did. You did a really good job with making people feel loved.
Sorry, go on with your point. It's really good.
It is a really good point. And okay, so I'm going to start over. Here we go. So 21 days, 3 times, and then you do that either 6 or 7 times. Basically, it's a year. You have to do something for a year for it to become rolled into your life. And that is what we have found with the word of the year. When we had conserve as our word of the year, after that, we didn't need to think about conserving anymore. We always made the conservative choice, and not like politically necessarily, but we always made like the choice to conserve, or like when we wanted to amp it up, like once we kind of like dialed it up in our family, like we didn't have to do that again. We don't have to think about that anymore, because it's just become a part of who we are, like the rings of a tree, right? Like it just sort of all, or like Russian nesting dolls or whatever, it all sort of rolls in. And so that's one of the reasons that I really think that everyone should be doing a word of the year, having something that you focus on for a year, that every decision that you're making, that lens that you talked about, is going through that word, whatever that word is for you.
Yeah, the lens in which they see 2020. I'll stop when I stop thinking it's funny.
Wow.
So I don't know when that will be.
Okay.
So we don't want to go too far into fasting, but because we will talk about it, obviously, but we're going to start this on January 5th. So the next time we meet together, it starts that day.
It's that day.
And so
you got to be ready.
Yeah, so I will say to the people that come that day, like, hey, it's not too late to start, and it's not. But for the people that are already attending and who are already coming to Tribe and call Tribe Church home, that's when we're starting that morning. So be ready. I
feel like this year we've had so many more people who are talking about fasting. They're making plans for fasting, and I think it's really, really important. And I'm so proud of you guys for doing that, for really going into this with the right mindset.
So there's different kinds of fasting. A lot of times when people hear the word fasting, their first association is like a complete fast, where you're
no food.
You're just going to have maybe just juice or just water for the 21 days.
We're not asking you to do that unless you feel called to do that.
Yeah, if you do, please make sure you consult your doctor. Obviously, we believe it's possible, and we know people who've done it, and so it's something that is totally something that you can
Maybe
do
someday,
if you feel called to do that.
I'm not doing that this year.
That's the complete fast, right? But there's also a selective fast, and selective fasts are like certain kind of foods will be removed from your diet. Maybe you give up soda, no more soda, or no more sugar, right? For 21 days, you're not gonna have any sugar, anything like that. Or like last season, I did the Daniel fast, which was no meats, no sweets, and no breads. For 21 days. If you're going to do the Daniel fast, please talk to me, because it's hard.
He will not encourage you.
No, I will. It's just hard. It's really hard. It was hard for me just because of the nature of who I am, and then also sometimes, and we'll get more into this, but sometimes fasts are like amazing experiences. It brings you closer to God, and then other times it's really tough.
It's like a battle.
Yeah.
It can be like a battle for sure. It can be really, really hard. Last year, my fast was no solid foods. So I had only liquids, so like protein shakes and juices, a lot of water, a lot of tea.
So that's kind of a selective
some
fast.
Some soups and things like that. That was kind of a selective fast. One of the things that I don't want to hear any of you do, this is one of my big pet peeves, is do not come to me and say, I'm allergic to nuts, so I've given up nuts for fasting. Ha 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 ha. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm serious. People do that, and people did that at Tribe last year. It's not funny. It's if you don't want to fast, say I'm choosing not to fast this year, and that's fine.
Yeah, just
but
own that.
Own that.
Don't mock other people. 'Cause that's essentially what's happening. I think people do it in jest, but the truth is that you're mocking the thing of fasting. You're mocking sort of the season that we are in as a church. And
right.
We believe that starting our year off this way, not just as individuals, but as a church body, is going to set the course for our entire year. And so we take it very seriously, and we want you all to as well. So if you choose not to fast, that's fine, but just let us know, not going to fast. So you can also do a partial fast, which is like maybe you eat everything, right? So nothing changes in your diet whatsoever, but you're not eating all the time. So maybe you only eat up from sun up to sundown, right?
Or sun up to sundown, or sundown to sun up, like the people who do that one too.
Right.
That one can be really hard in the winter because of the...
Right. Or maybe you skip a meal, right? Like you're just like, I'm not going to eat lunch for 21 days, right? Or I'm not going to eat whatever. And you can do that as well. So that's kind of a partial fast. And there's also a soul fast, which is like, focuses more on the emotions and mind, saying like, I'm going to get rid of social media. So I'm not going to have social media through for 21 days, right? Or maybe no television, not going to have television for 21 days, not going to look at screens in the evening or anything like that. So those are different kinds of things that you can do. What I do want to encourage you to do is make a commitment. Make a commitment and say, I'm going to do this. Because here's what happens. No one is going to ask you, on Wednesday or Thursday necessarily, are you still doing your fast, right? And so it's easy to be like, this is kind of hard. I don't know if I want to do it anymore.
It should be hard.
Right, and it should be hard. And the point is like every time that you're thinking about that thing that you're giving up, right? We should be praying. We should be reaching out to God and putting God as our focus. I mean, that's the whole point, is substituting something that's taking up our time and replacing it with God.
Brain space.
Yeah, and replacing it with a relationship with God. And so I encourage everybody, like when you start this, like make a commitment. It's 21 days, right?
It's both a long time and not a long time.
Right, 3 weeks you can manage, and if I can manage the Daniel fast for 3 weeks, y'all can manage.
I can manage living with Matt while he was on the Daniel fast for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
you can do it.
You can manage a lot of things. So I encourage you guys just to buckle down and say whatever it is, right? Like whatever you commit to, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick to it for 21 days. And maybe this is your first time fasting, so you do something that's like the soul fast, which I don't mean to demean it. It's just it's a little easier because it's like you're not necessarily giving up like a food item or a specific time that you would eat or something like that. Like you're giving up. And for some people, that could be really hard, right? The soul fast can still be really hard. So whatever season you're in, just find where that's at and match that with what you fast. And then after 21 days, we get to celebrate that. And
we have a party planned. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah, we have a party planned, and you'll be able to start your year off focusing on God. And trust me when I say that if you can start your year off the right way, focusing on God and focusing on creating better habits in your life and developing new ways to approach things that you should have developed long ago, like your year will be much better. And we know many people who can attest to that. So I think that's all we have for today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, or maybe you're watching this on Monday. Maybe you just slept all day Sunday, and maybe you're watching this on New Year's Day.
If you're on the Go team, just think about the fact that you haven't had to pick anything up today.
Right. It's 6:30 at the movie, or at 6:30 the movie theater has passed, and nothing got moved, and they opened early for movies, and we weren't there to bother anybody, So we are so grateful for all of you. Grateful for your commitment to Tribe Church, and we're excited for this next year.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Bye.